What if I told you the reason you can't stay consistent with meditation is just because of how you're approaching it? Maybe the reason why meditation isn't working for you has nothing to do with you, but it has everything to do with the way that you're approaching meditation and the angle at which you are viewing it. One of the most asked questions I get is, how am I truly able to be consistent with my meditation? How do I get into meditation? Why does it seem like I can't get it to work? How come I go to sit down to meditate, but my mind just keeps on running with all these different thoughts and I can't get my mind to calm down? It seems like every single day I get asked questions that are very similar to this. So in this recording, I want to talk about the way that I view meditation, the angle at which I view meditation, what that really means, and how, since I've been able to shift my approach when it comes to meditating, it's been a lot easier for me to get the experience that I want out of it. This is something that's been in the works for a while. I got into meditation probably about 4 years ago, maybe 3.5, 4 years ago. But I really started to be consistent with it only within the last year and a half. And within that year and a half, I've completely changed the way that I approach it. And it's really made a huge difference in terms of my ability to be consistent with it and what I get out of it. So I just want to talk about my approach in this recording, and hopefully it can help somebody. Now, before getting into it, I would like to preface, I'm not an expert when it comes to any of this. I don't claim to be an expert when it comes to meditation or anything like that. I'm not some guru. I'm just someone who's incorporated these practices into my life and has incorporated more presence into my life. And it's made a positive impact on me and the way that I carry myself, the way that I go about my business. So I'm just sharing things that have helped me in hopes to inspire someone to incorporate these practices into their life as well. I don't have all the answers when it comes to any of this. I'm just sharing what's worked for me. So when it comes to the way that I view meditation, I honestly wish that someone told me this when I first started getting into meditation. I'm sure someone will relate to this, but there were a lot of days where I sat down to meditate. This is 3.5, 4 years ago. I told myself that this is something that I wanted to start getting into, and there were a lot of days where I sat down to meditate and I tried my best to clear my mind and it just wouldn't work, and I would get really frustrated with myself. And instead of honoring the commitment I made to myself, where I said, I'm going to be more consistent with this, I got frustrated and I would put it off a few days, which led to even more days putting it off. And, I'd probably do it once a week. And every single time I sat down to meditate, I would get frustrated because I was unable to clear my mind. I'd sit down for 5 or 10 minutes and it would feel like I just wasted 5 or 10 minutes. Like I would ask myself, what was the point in that? Like, I just sat down and did nothing for 5 or 10 minutes. I didn't get anything out of this. I don't feel any better. I don't feel any calmer. In fact, I'm more stressed out. So my perspective on meditation and what I'm going to talk about in this recording, I didn't really feel this way. My mindset didn't shift until about 1.5 years ago. And honestly, I think it shifted without me even realizing that it shifted. And it wasn't until I took a step back, noticed how consistent I've been with it, and realized, I think this is the reason why I'm able to be consistent with a practice like this. I think I love talking about this so much, and I think one of the reasons why I'm experiencing so many benefits and the positive shifts that have taken place in my life is because I approach my meditation this way, and because I'm viewing meditation from this different angle that I'm going to talk about, and I didn't even realize it. So now to actually get into it, I think one of the most powerful shifts that you can make when it comes to meditation, in your approach to meditation and your approach to the process of meditating, is moving from the mindset of doing it to get something to simply being with the experience. Most people who get into meditation, most people who come to meditation, they come with a goal in mind. Maybe it's to feel calmer. Maybe it's to experience more peace. Maybe it's to reduce anxiety or to become more focused. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with having intentions, this goal-oriented mindset can quietly reinforce the belief that something's missing and that meditation is the answer. Something's missing from what we're experiencing right now, and that meditation is a tool to fix it or to add what we are currently lacking. And this approach can create a lot of resistance for people. People sit down to meditate, they expect stillness or clarity right away, and when their thoughts don't stop or that peace doesn't arrive instantly, they judge themselves. You can ask yourself, am I really doing this right? Or how come I just can't quiet my mind, or I can't empty my mind all the way? And eventually, they just give up altogether, and they reinforce that story or that narrative that says, meditation just isn't for me. It's not something that is for me. It just doesn't work for me. And to some degree, I've asked myself these questions too. I've been there, and I think it's a very common experience for beginners and people who are new to meditation and what this practice is all about. So it's just about asking yourself, what if meditation wasn't something we do to get somewhere, but simply something we allow ourselves to experience because we can? So many people approach meditation with this pressure, with these rigid expectations. They're sitting down to meditate, they're doing their meditations to clear their mind completely. They're doing X, Y, and Z to attempt to feel more at peace, or more calm, or more focused, or more joy, hoping to gain all the benefits. While those outcomes can of course happen, treating meditation like a means to an end creates a whole bunch of resistance, a ton of resistance. And keep in mind while you are listening to this, that this is me talking from experience, okay? You may be listening to this being in a very similar position that I once was in a few years ago, trying to be more consistent with it, knowing that this is something that I should be doing because I know it's probably going to benefit me in some capacity, but I just can't clear my mind completely. I can't get it to work. I struggle to sit still. So you may be putting it off and then putting it off a little bit more. I've been there. You can begin to feel like you're failing if your mind starts to wander, or if you're unable to clear your mind completely. If you don't feel better instantly, if you don't feel more at peace instantly or more calm instantly, you feel like you're not doing it right. And this all creates this very subtle but profound pressure. Like meditation is a test and you're constantly trying to pass it. You tell yourself you're going to commit to this, you go and sit down and try to meditate, you have good intentions, and then your mind starts to wander. So you take a deep breath, you try to bring it all back and center yourself, and then your mind starts to wander again, and you're just unable to bring it back. You're unable to keep your mind still. So you tell yourself, maybe this just isn't for me. I tried, but maybe it's just not for me. If you don't walk away from your meditation feeling calm instantly, or feeling better than the way that you felt before you even started meditating, you feel like it was just a waste of time. Again, I've been there. This turns the act of meditation into a performance. It becomes something to succeed at instead of what it truly is, which is just a space to be. You start judging the experience of it instead of just being present with it. There's this expectation associated with your meditation. When you shift your approach and your mindset when it comes to meditation, you realize that the purpose of meditation is not to get something, but to experience what is already here. And that is when everything changes. Instead of striving for peace, instead of striving to feel calm, instead of striving for all the benefits that you think you're going to get from meditating, you just allow yourself to experience peace now. You allow yourself to experience presence now. You allow yourself to experience calm now. That peace, that presence, that calm is always available to us. And it may not seem like it is because our mind is just constantly going down that rabbit hole of thought, going from one thought to the next thought to the next thought. There's always that constant mind chatter. But that peace, that presence, that calm is there underneath it all. Even if it's just in the simplicity of noticing your breath or noticing your thoughts, being aware of your breath or aware of your thoughts, you come to the realization that there's no need to manufacture anything anymore. I don't need to earn anything. I don't need to achieve anything to feel more calm, to feel more present, to feel more at peace. That's all available to me now. I have access to it now. I can experience it now. You make that the goal when you go to meditate. The goal is to just be. Just to experience the presence that is already here. We all have access to that presence, that peace, that calm here and now. It no longer needs to be an outcome that you're striving for. You no longer see it as something that needs to be achieved, something that you need to spend hours in meditation to experience. Personally, in my life, making this shift has transformed everything. I am way more receptive to the act of sitting in a meditation consistently. Like, consistency isn't a problem anymore for me when it comes to meditation. It's something I look forward to doing because it's no longer a means to an end. I'm not doing it to get anything. I'm doing it to experience the peace and the presence and the calm that is already here and already available to us all. Again, we don't have to earn that peace or that presence. We're worthy of it here and now. You no longer approach meditation when you're viewing it from this angle of trying to get anything. You're not trying to get any benefit. You're not meditating to get the benefits. You're doing it to experience what is already here. When you strip everything back, beneath the noise, the overthinking, the labels, the striving, what remains is profoundly simple. Your awareness. That constant mental chatter, that inner commentary that's narrating our lives. It can be very loud, but it's not all that is there. Going beyond that chatter doesn't mean trying to force yourself to silence your thoughts. It means gently shifting your attention away from being entangled in them. And you can do this by simply just noticing the space in between your thoughts, the quiet that exists underneath them. And that can happen through your breath. That can happen through simply witnessing what arises without judgment, without attaching yourself with it. And when you do this, even if it's for a few seconds, you can connect with something a lot deeper, which is that presence that is always available to us there, that peace, that calm that we're talking about here. It's always available to us. It's just underneath that mental chatter, underneath that mental commentary. That's our natural state. And it becomes visible, or more visible, I should say, when we stop identifying so tightly with the mind. Actually think about how beautiful this is. It's always there. It's always available to us. We don't have to earn it. We don't have to, achieve something to get there. No matter what's happening externally, no matter how loud your thoughts are, that quiet awareness, that presence, that calm, that peace, whatever you want to say, that stillness, it's there. Your mind may tell you you have to do X, Y, and Z. You have to meditate for an hour every single day to get the benefits, to experience the peace that you're looking for, to experience the joy or the happiness or the fulfillment that you're looking for. You have to sit in this position and you have to do this and you have to do that to experience what it is you want. Learn to drop it all, drop all the expectations. Strip everything back. It doesn't need to be that way. So instead of doing your meditation to get something, do it to experience what is already here. Shift your mindset and perspective from trying to get something to just experiencing, to just being. And again, from my perspective and opinion on this, when I made this shift, the act of meditating is something that I look forward to doing now. I don't struggle to be consistent with it. It's something I love to do, something that I look forward to doing, because it gives me an opportunity to just be. We all get wrapped up in our day-to-day lives, in the world that we live in. Everything is trying to pull our attention in a million different directions. Everything wants our attention. With social media, it's so easy to compare yourself to other people. There's a lot of external noise. So meditating gives me an opportunity to just be, to just silence that noise and to focus on my vision, focus on the way that I want to feel internally. That peace, that calm, that presence. I'm just dialing into it. I'm just tuning into it. It's already here. It's already available to us. I'm just tuning into it. When I meditate for 5 or 10 minutes every single day, that's what I'm doing. I'm not meditating to get there. I'm just experiencing it. I'm experiencing what is already here. It's no longer a chore. It's no longer something that I feel like I have to do to experience X, Y, and Z. So I really believe that viewing meditation from this angle will enable you to be more consistent with it, be more open-minded to the idea of just sitting down and spending some quiet time by yourself, just being, just meditating, just focusing on your breath. You really are worthy of experiencing that calm and that peace and that presence. You're completely qualified and deserving of experiencing that calm, that peace, that presence. Now, you don't have to create peace. Peace is. You don't have to manufacture presence. Presence is what you are. It's always here. The only thing that clouds that presence or that peace is the idea that you have to earn it. You must earn it, or that you're not there yet. So just to wrap up this recording, release the agenda. Get rid of all your expectations. And you're going to notice how the resistance kind of just fades and consistency becomes natural, not forced. Because you're no longer trying to earn a reward. You're simply showing up to something that you look forward to doing because it allows you to tap into really great feelings that we all always have access to. So I hope you got some value from listening to this. I hope I explained this well. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to have a conversation about this and explain this maybe in a little bit more depth. But like I said, hope you got some value from listening to it. Hope you're having an incredible day wherever you're listening to this. I appreciate you listening and being a part of Presence of Being. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribing, liking, commenting, all of that does a lot and helps a lot. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leaving a positive review if you enjoyed listening to this also does a lot. I appreciate all the support. If you want to support what we're building here even more and grabbing a hat, you can go to presenceofbeing.co and represent what we're building at Presence of Being, promoting a more present way of life. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And I will see you in the next recording very soon.